What is going on, everybody? Avatar here, and in today's build video we are taking a look at a hunter that can do dang near everything. So if you want a build that will give you constant amplified, void overshield, the ability to go invisible, to have woven mail, frost armor, or hell, even restoration if you want to build into that, this build will do. So if you want something that can go into any in-game content and have the ability to stun all champions, great damage reduction and survivability, plus the ability to do some pretty decent damage, you're going to want to check this out. So without further ado, let's get into what makes this build so good. So this exotic class item is definitely something that's going to really help amplify this build. What it does is it has Spirit of Renewal, which gives us frost armor when we stand in our dusk field, and it also has Spirit of Surturachne, which is going to gain woven mail when we use our grenade. So our dusk field has two purposes. It helps us freeze enemies if we want to use it that way, or we're going to get frost armor just by standing in it, but at the same time get woven mail, which is another great damage reduction just by throwing our grenade. So the great thing about Prismatic Hunter is you have fantastic ability just to be extremely versatile. So what else are we using besides our dusk field? Let's use Threaded Spike. You can use really whatever melee you want. I do prefer Threaded Spike for the reason being is you can sever targets. It hits multiple targets before returning to you, and then if you catch it, you can have your mail pretty much fully refunded a lot of the times, or close to it at least. Aspect wise is another great thing of how we're going to go invis and have amplified on demand. So by killing any target that has a type of debuff, including blind, jolt, scorch, ignition, suppression, volatile, or weaken, or any darkness that has slow, freeze, sever, suspend, or unravel, you will gain invisibility from it. So everything we do, any source of damage, we are going to have the ability to turn invisible, which is great for surviving in harder content. Next is Ascension. Great thing about this is it gives you amplified on demand, which increases your movement speed and your weapon handling. But also it jolts targets and can stun overloads. If you want to play that aggressive, why not? So super wise, you can really use whatever you want. I would recommend either Shadow Shot, because you have the ability to tether a bunch of targets plus void overshields, or you could use Golden Gun. You're going to miss out because you're not using Celestial, but if you want to build into the restoration instead of an overshield, you can go that route as well. What is really going to help us further this build is going to be the fragments. So first up, we are using Facet of Sacrifice. So while we have an Arc, Solar, or Void debuff, which we're going to have those often, our ability Final Blows are going to grant Darkness Transcendence energy, just helping us fill up that Transcendence meter even faster. Next, Facet of Justice. So when we're Transcendent, our final abilities blow. Basically, the only reason we're using this is just for sheer fun. You can toss in whatever fragment you want to use here. So next, we're going to be using Facet of Purpose. This is what is the main source of our overshield. So when we pick up an Orb of Power, it's going to grant an overshield. You could use any of the other supers if you want, but we're already getting amplified. We're already getting frost armor. We're already getting woven mail. If you want bolt charge and you want to build into that, you could just play arc, but I wouldn't really use the arc in PvE, but your choice. Next, Facet of Courage. So our arc, solar, and void abilities do increased damage to targets affected with darkness debuffs. We don't really have a ton of different abilities that we're using here apart from Ascension, but you know what? It helps. Next, Facet of Dawn. Powered melee hits make you radiant. So the two that I really recommend using are going to be Facet of Dawn, but also Facet of Purpose. Hell, we could even take off one of these, like our Transcendence, and then just go into Facet of Protection to further have damage reduction. So why not do that? We're building this together. Next, other ways that we're going to go invisible is going to be a chill clip weapon with, we like using Tenacious Mastery because it stuns every champion, as you guys know. This has chill clip. One shot stuns overloads, freezing and shattering stuns unstoppables. Piercing sidearm, you get the barriers. Then we're going to be using the Pyroelectric Propellant. Does not have to be this weapon. Anything with jolting feedback is extremely powerful here. Or if you use a void weapon, anything with repulsor brace and destabilizing rounds, also going to be extremely powerful there to get more void overshields, cause volatile explosions. It's a ton of fun. Then we love Thunderlord because bolt charge is so damn strong. So why not take advantage of basically free damage in the terms of like using bolt charge to create lightning strikes. And we'll get into why that's even better once we talk about the artifact as well. But before we do that, let's talk about the mods on the armor. So for our for our helmet, we're going to be using Heavy Ammo Scout, Heavy Ammo Finder, as well as a matching siphon for whatever our primary is. This one is Arc. Next, we're going to be using impact induction to cause grenade cooldown when we get damage with our powered melee, fastball, so when we want to throw a grenade, we can throw it further, and then a loader to just basically increase the reload speed. It's not necessary. You could easily go into something like heavy-handed and really just create orbs upon orbs with your powered melee. That's definitely a possibility and an option you have. Chest piece, myself and I'm sure everyone else will probably recommend resistance mods that match the activity you're doing. Then we're going to be using Thunderhead. Why did I say the actual name of the armor? Goodness gracious. We're going to be using Better Already for health to begin regenerating completely, or not completely, but regenerating upon those orb pickups. Then recuperation to replenish health every time we pick up an orb. And then lastly, absolution to reduce our ability cooldowns when we pick up an orb. It kind of helps be like a pseudo Inmost Light. Doesn't do as good of a job, but hey, why not gain increased cooldown when you can? Then of course, our class item. These mods are kind of up to whatever you really want to use. You could use something like Special Finisher to get more finish or more special ammo upon finishing for you and your teammates. Toss on Distribution to reduce all ability cooldowns when you use your class ability in your targets. Font of Restoration just to help recovery when you have an armor charge. Really, you could build into whatever you want. Unfortunately, Reaper, I would usually recommend, but it doesn't work with Ascension, so we don't have it on. You could use Powerful Attraction though. That's a fun one. We love that when you're dodging. You get 12-meter radius and your orbs come to you directly. But let's talk about the Tablet of Ruin and the artifact mods that I think are very important for you to use. Of course, if you're running a sidearm, Piercing Sidearm to stun all of the champions if you have a Chill Clip one, but for barrier ones, Rocket Sidearms do a fantastic job. Then Overclock and Loaded to get, when we're amplified or have a bolt charge, our arc weapons have increased handling and reload, which pairs really well with Hold the Line. So when we're surrounded, our machine guns heal us and get increased reload and stability. Then we've got Dielectric to defeat arc debuff targets. We get bolt charge from that. If you're running Void, toss on Volatile Marksman to get volatile rounds. Then Maligned Harvest, again, if you're running Void, basically rapidly applying Volatile causes your next instance of Void weapon to create a weakening burst, which is just really nice to do more damage upon any type of enemy that you're facing. Then there's Flashover, so when you get maximum bolt charge, you become amplified. And your lightning bolts deal more damage. That last part is why we're using it, to have more damage on our lightning bolts. If you're not running a special ammo finisher, you could also forego one of these, like Maligned Harvest, and toss on a Dreadful Finisher instead. And then Defibrillating Blast, so when we stun a champion, really, it's basically when we cause bolt charge to happen, we get a bolt charge that heals us and jolts combatants that it damages. So it's a fantastic perk. And then Void Flux, again, if you want to run an arc or a Void primary instead of an arc one, it just kind of depends on what your playstyle is. If you like jolting feedback, you have a good weapon with it, because it's a lot easier to get volatile off of repulsor blades and stabilizing rounds, plus the survivability from that is fantastic as well. But there you have it. This build will literally do everything you could actually want it to do. You don't have to use the weapons, but the ability to have all of those buffs at the same time, just fantastic survivability. Plus, you're going to go invisible so often. So as you saw in the beginning, we were running that Master Lost sector at over 20 power under, and if you didn't watch the whole run because you only watched the first 30 seconds because that's all that there was, let me tell you, we cooked. But that's the build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment below on if you'd like to use it, or hell, if you want to make it better, let me know down below just how you do that. And then there will be a Discord link to this build in the description below, as well as our Twitch where we stream every Monday, Friday, and Saturday night. But feel free to hop in the Discord if you want a group to play with. And until then, I'll catch you next time.